Welcome to the Uriah Jokes Podcast, True Crime Edition, where we go where no other podcasts go by talking to a private investigator who is going public for the first time ever with the most riveting, outstanding, and beyond comprehension to the most of the human minds, except for the people watching it now. Now, stick with me, and I promise you that sticks and stones won't break your bones, because this podcast is gonna last forever. This is Uriah's Crime Stories. Stories of a private investigator turned public podcaster. Out of all of my cases, this is the one that still haunts and follows me and sticks with me everywhere I go. Haven't all the cases we talked about haunted and stuck with you? Yes. But this one sticks to me like glue, or a piece of bubble gum. While walking down the street, you step on a piece of bubblegum and it tracks dirt everywhere you go. And this case leaves me with the same amount of filthy feelings that I felt back when I was in a dingy bar trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life before I decided to be a private turned public investigator. Sounds like we're gonna be in a sticky situation. No, it's not. Sticks and stickies. It is sticks and bones, because this case chills me right down to the bone. I remember this case as if it was yesterday. Yesterday. Because it was yesterday. Yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. And 10 years ago. I remember it like it was yesterday and 10 years ago. Yesterday, I was just a young buck trying to get my third case. Without it being the type of case that would just be a charm, because I'd rather be a charming private detective that has been sought after throughout the entire history of the entire private investigator world. Must have been nice to be a young buck back then. I was just a young buck. Must have been nice to be a young buck back then. Yes, but that meant I had to cross the street carefully, and don't cross single-lane highways in the middle of the night, because I would want to jump out the front of the headlights, because I was just a young buck with the whole life in front of me, and so many cases to solve, and so many good things to do for the entire community, because I was a private public investigator. Yeah, because you were a young buck. Because I was a buck. Ka-ching! It started like any other day. Ka-ching! Opening up my eyes and going to the mailbox to check to see if I got any mail from the mailman, from my assistant, if I have any other cases. Mail time! Mail time. Mail time! Mail time. The thing about mail time is you never know when you're going to open up the piece of mail and get a paper cut. But that paper cut is not from the piece of mail, but it's the cut that goes deep based on the horrendous case that could follow by opening up the piece of mail. There was a note from my assistant to meet a client on the corner of Duncanshire and Frosting, a corner I know well because it's the corner where I've spent a lot of my many nights trying to figure out how to get home after drinking at the bar for far too long by trying to solve the cases that are inside my head. And sometimes the cases inside my head are not just the cases that clients hire me to. Sometimes they're the cases of the case of myself. And on that corner was situated a hockey shop. And a stoned factory where you buy stones that are factory assembled, made in America. Sticks, and stones. You got it. Sticks and stones. I ventured to the corner. I ventured very quickly to the corner in a gust, in a heap of breath, going faster than I normally do because the last thing I want to do is be late. If I'm late, the client will think I'm late everywhere I go. If they think I'm late everywhere I go, they're gonna think I'm gonna be late at solving the case, but there's nothing farther than the truth. But the thing is, I gave myself such a heap, such a holler, that I tossed myself into a thing of bushes. And the thing of those bushes is I passed out and went into my dream. More like a field of dreams. So I end up collapsing in a field of bushes. I'm just fielding my options. No, I was in a field of dreams. I'm just fielding my options. No, I was in a field of bushes. That's the exact opposite of bright-eyed, but bushy-tailed. I don't have a tail. Except for the tail that I'm telling you now that is going to make you wag that tail that you don't have out of sure confidence that the story is certainly going somewhere, because the suspension of disbelief is the only thing you need to diss the belief, and with dissing the belief you no longer need to believe whether or not the story is going anywhere. Fantastic! I awoke and began my sprint to the corner. That's absolutely fantastic. Getting there right in the nick of time. He always knows what time it is. He's the nick of time. I waited on the corner with no avail. No one showed up, so I decided to go to the payphone and call my assistant to see whether or not she could give me a little bit more details, because I wish my assistant was more detailed oriented. But I'm not here to solve a double mystery. I'm here to solve the mystery of the envelope. So it looks like I already have a double mystery, but I don't want a triple mystery yet, so I rang my assistant. In 2011, you had a phone? In 2011, I had a phone. I phoned it in. No, I didn't have a phone. It was 2011, yes, but I have just begun private investigating back then, making time, making dimes, making pennies over nickels, and then nickels over dimes, and then dimes over quarters, and then quarters over dollars, and then dollars over $5, and then $5 over tens, and then tens only tens, because I am the private investigator that is affordable. Ring, ring. I was sponsored by Obamacare. Ring, ring. Ring, ring. I called my assistant to get more information. She answered, "Who's this?" Who was it? Who was it? Who was it? Who was it? What do you mean, who was it? Yeah, who was it? I'm on sticks and stones over here. It was me. I was the one calling my assistant. Wow, do I need to make it more clear? But it makes sense. I can't make it more clear because the murkier these cases get, the more murky these cases get. I'm on sticks and stones over here. And the more murky these cases get, the harder they are going to be to comprehend from the public individual. That's why these cases remain private, because the client and the attorney know why things should be private, because cases that are made public are confusing, because you don't know exactly what the hell is going on, because you're not privy to the previous information. I'm on sticks and stones over here. I don't want them to break my bones. My assistant told me that all she knew is it was a case that needed to be solved. So I solved the case of my assistant, but needing to know I had two cases to solve now. One, the case itself, and second, what the hell the case was about. Yeah, you don't even know. Two cases? That means I'm gonna have to double my fee. I'm making $20. That's a double mystery. She was about to tell me exactly what was going on, but then she decided to hang up on me because she had to order food. And back then, you didn't have a phone to order food. You had a phone to order the food. Double, double, ba 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 ba. Double, double. That's how I like my coffee. And then I saw the client waltz up to me, and I said, "Are you the client?" And she said, "Are you the private investigator?" And I said, "It looks like we should get a private spot to talk." So we waltzed up into the bar that I am known well and told them I would like the booth in the far corner, away from all the hordes of people drinking at the bar, even if I'm the only person at the bar at noon. Double, double, that's how I like my coffee. And I ordered 2 slices of pie because that's how I solve these mysteries is over pie. 2 creams, 2 sugars, too much. Taste of the coffee. Yeah, you guys want more from me. I solve the mysteries. I get pie. You get entertained finding out what's it like to be a private investigator turned public investigator eating pie with a client that happened 10 years ago, but it feels like yesterday, and yesterday turns into yesteryear, where I long for the feelings of solving a case and giving back to the community. But the problem is, if I give back to the community, I don't want them to think I'm a socialist. So I asked her, "What is this case about?" 2 sugars. She said she missed her dog. And I said, "I miss my dog every time I don't see my dog too, but is the dog missing? What kind of dog was it?" And she said yes, and I solved what part 1 of the case would be. And I'm like, "I need to know what your dog looks like, and I will use a dog whisperer that knows how to talk loudly. That way, when he calls for the dog actually comes. Because if you whisper to a dog and the dog's not there, the dog doesn't know what the hell you were talking about. Was it a husky?" So she tossed a picture and slid it across the table, face down, which to me maybe meant a couple things. Was this dog actually hers? Is this dog a beagle? Could this dog be one of those big Clifford dogs, the ones that are trying to turn the world into a communist dictatorship? Or is it Blue's Clues? Mail time. There was only one way to find out, even though the thousands and thousands of ideas that ring true through my head. I needed to just look at the photo. And when I looked at the photo, I was like, "That's not a dog, that's a squirrel. It was a squirrel." What? Talk about a squirrely time. Still haunts me to this day. And this has been the Uriah Jokes Podcast. New episodes of this crime podcast are available every single time I upload them, and not available every time I don't make another episode. Because guess what? You thought 3 cases was going to be the charm? Well, guess what? There's a billion cases out there, and we're going to undercover every single one of them, and we're not even going to get a call before we dig. We should probably call before we dig. We don't want this to blow up in our faces.